Oh, I don't enjoy the diet.
You don't enjoy it.
I mean, to be honest, diet is a big subject to talk about, because you can go down the route like what diet you do, what calories you eat, what macros you do and stuff. But I think because I've been doing it like since 6 years now, I kind of know what works for me, so I don't need to count the calories. I don't need to count my macros. I know I eat enough protein. I know I eat enough carbs. So everybody is different. And to be honest, I don't understand it that well, and I don't really need to, because I know what works for me. So
what actually works for you? So we did talk before, and we talked about the more paleo-based diet, but you also then mentioned a few carbs there as well. So what is it that's working that gives you the best performance? So things like I've got a reasonable understanding of nutrition, but the more I've understood nutrition, the more I've been able to simplify it and just think, oh, actually, just a high protein diet and stick within a certain amount of calories, and pretty much that's enough to perform at my best. And I've done marathons, ultra marathons, and those sorts of things, but it actually comes down to something really basic normally, and many whole foods, lots of vegetables. It's interesting because there's so much information around nutrition, but then it can come back to something so simple, which is just good whole foods, vegetables, lean protein. So what is it works best for you, gets you perform at your best?
what you just said, what you just said, it's like cut out the sugar, cut out the crap. I mean, to be honest, I am very lucky that my husband is quite a good cook. I am myself a good cook, so we cook food pretty much every day or every other day, depends how the quantity we cook. And we also cook like good food, like lots of fish, lots of chicken, and we encourage kids to eat that sort of food too. I mean, my son loves potatoes, so we have to have potatoes at home all the time. I mean, I eat potatoes sometimes, but I don't eat too much of it. Or I eat pizza, but I just don't eat too much of it. So as simple as that.
When Sir James Rush from the gym came on, and we talked a lot about nutrition and calories and diet, and we were quite open in talking about, because a lot of people go to the gym, they want to lose weight. And I don't think people realise for a lot of years it's simply just a calorie deficit, and it's just, you can have all of those foods, it's just how much of that food you have. And even if you have really good foods, if you eat too much of that good food, eat too many oats, eat too many this or that, then it's obviously not going to be great for you. It's just about, you can eat. It's amazing to hear that a world champion is sitting in front of me and actually says, well, I can eat a bit of pizza. It's okay.
It is okay, yeah. I eat cake and everything. Although, like, before the competitions, because, I mean, I'd say my normal walking weight would be about 66, anything between 66 and 68 kilos. Like, it depends time of the year, what it is, like if I'm in a prep season or, but because I'm competing in a lightweight, so in non-tested world, it's 64 kilos, and in tested world, it's 65. So I need to drop down.
So before you compete, you have to drop down to get into that weight. Do you say it's 64?
64 and
right.
no more.
Right.
Or 65 in tested competition.
Right.
So I've got to lose about 3-4 kilos. It depends where I am at each stage. Like when it's summer, you naturally lose a little bit of weight because you don't want to eat hot cooked food. You tend to eat more salads and, that sort of stuff. So I naturally lose a little bit of weight going into the summer or during the summer. But in the winter, I put a little bit more weight because I eat more cooked, warmer foods because it's cold, so you want to keep warm.
Yes, of course.
And before these competitions, like sometimes I have to really reduce my calories just to make that cut to be as close as possible. I do the water load, which is another way of reducing your weight, but I try and be as low as possible food wise. So I sometimes just eat like chicken breast and just bit of salad, just and decrease my calorie intake, maybe like a week before the competition, like go really, really low. But then if you got 2 days, like day before weigh-in, I can go and refeed.
Okay.
So I would go and have some nice meal still good meal, not pig out, because I would get in a pain and because my stomach can't take it.
So when you do a refeed, what's included within that? Because I've heard about bodybuilders using refeeds before, and they go off and eat 12,000 calories and all these cakes and all this sort of stuff. But what does that mean for when you do it?
Yeah, something like that.
Is it really?
Oh, last time, what did I do? Let's say for the Arnold's, I did a weigh-in, and I went to TGI Fridays, which wasn't my choice, but I just tagged along, and I had some chicken with the sesame oil or whatever it was, like kind of dipping thing, and I had what they called quesadillas.
Oh, quesadillas,
Yeah. And the competition before, and then I had a cinnamon bun from
quesadillas. Quesadillas. That's right.
Sorry,
I think we got confused between enchiladas and quesadillas.
yeah. And then then I had a cinnamon roll from Starbucks as a cake.
Okay.
And before at the Braids, we had 24-hour weigh-in as well, so I could go and eat and whatever I wanted. So I actually went to Nando's. So I had a nice chicken, a little bit of chips and some coleslaw and sweet corn.
So that means you do your weigh-in 24 hours before, and that's the weight. So therefore, in the 24 hours before you're actually training, so that's when you're doing your weigh-in. So therefore, you've got a day where you can kind of eat whatever you want as the refeed, and then you're competing the next day.
Yeah.
Got you.
So to get the strength, I mean, I actually had my body fat measured just before this competition, and I had one done 2 months ago, and it was quite interesting to see that how much muscles I lost leading up to the competition because of the weight cut. It was interesting to see. I've lost about a kilo of the muscle mass.
Really? That's interesting.
It's interesting.
Has your training changed much, or is it just as your training? Because if you're coming into a competition, surely that's intensified. So you've been doing more training.
As it gets closer to the competition, I start lifting heavier and heavier and heavier, and then week before the competition, I kind of back off.
Right.
So I lift heavier, but not as heavy. So my body gets time to recover and get prepared for the competition. But because I'm not eating so much, I lose the weight, and I lose naturally the strength a little bit. But then I can go and refeed, so I get that strength a little bit back. So it's natural that people lose a bit of muscle mass if they weight cutting.
Oh, okay.
So
when you said something there which was quite interesting, when you're in your training, if there's a particular weight that you're trying to lift, because obviously when you go into these competitions, like we mentioned earlier, you don't necessarily know what they always are. So you might find out a few months before what it is going to be, and then do you try and lift as heavy as you possibly can during your training up to that point? Is there any points where you're kind of try and mirror what you're going to do on the day, or actually you're trying to lift a bit lighter? Right. I mean, how do you structure that training leading up to like a major competition like Arnold's?
So, as I said, we go in heavier and heavier, and we trying to aim to hit the weight what is in a competition. So let's say we have...
Oh, right. So when you compete, there's a weight that you need to be lifting.
Yes.
Got you.
So I know that ahead. So let's say we had 230 kilos yoke to carry. So I was training yoke for 4 weeks. So every week, my training runs the weight would increase, and trying to get into that weight was a competition. I did try in a training the 230 kilos, but because in a training you don't get the same adrenaline rush as when you compete in, it nearly broke me. It took me 3 days to recover from it. Like Eric Arnold's, because of the adrenaline helped me. I'm here like Happy Mary. I'm laughing and all buzzing still. So
that's incredible. So we talked earlier, 4,500 people watching you on stage, and that you talked about the massive impact that had on your performance because there's so much pressure and excitement. But then you think that's helped with your recovery as well in some respects.
I don't know. It was very different. This experience was different because it was longer. We had more time to recover. But when you're training, in there, let's say I did that yoke, let's say in 20 seconds, 30 seconds. So that's 30 seconds of pain. But in my training, I need to build up to that weight. And let's say I'm lifting from 140 to 220 kilos, and I keep doing the runs with them. So I actually lift more weight. So I get more fatigued in the training, and I do this for 3 or 4 days a week. So it's going to affect me a bit more. The recovery is going to be longer. So after the competitions, yes, the following day I am tired because it was heavy, but I tend to recover quite faster, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because now yesterday I had day off, today I've got day off from training just to get my recovery sorted. So I feel fine. Yeah, I've got bruised arms, but it is what it is.
It's exciting. So what does the future look like? So, when you look into, is there any more competitions for the rest of this year? Or what have you
Yeah,
got
I
left?
did mention, I've got the, because I won the naturals,
Yes.
so I've got to represent Team GB in a teams board championship, which is in Cardiff in November. And then December, I'm doing Clash Pro Series, which is a qualifier to go to America. So yeah, exciting.
Right.
Which is a paid competition too.
Okay. Oh, so they pay you to go and
It
be on
depends
stage
what
and compete.
it depends what you play. Same as Arnold, because it was a pro show, so all the athletes got paid. It depends on your position. As you end it, you get more or less. Strongman is usually not funded, so there is not so much money in it, especially women. But it's getting better. As I said, the non-tested side of it is getting bigger and better. The organizer who organizes these competitions is trying to promote women and getting us into the big competitions or bigger and better competitions. Like this was the first year the UK had a pro women show, which is amazing for the women's sport. And it's huge. People loved it. It was shame they didn't do meet and greet with us because there was loads of people demanding to take, not demanding, but would love to take pictures with the champions, let's say. Like those women lifted enormous weights. Like in my weight category, Rhiannon Lovelace, she is just amazing. She is super strong. She lifts really heavy weights, and loads of people and girls look up to her for what she does. So if I'm like that, I would want to get a picture with her. I mean, I'm competitive with her, and I know her, and we talk during the day. So, and we had a little chit chat. I was in a doing deadlift against her, and my deadlift is 180 kilos for one rep. She's got 280 on a normal.
280.
Yes, she made me look like a muppet.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah, so I did 2 reps. She did 14. Whilst I did 2 reps. She's just very good. So
wow.
So yeah, I mean, would you not want a picture with someone like that?
Of course you would, yeah.
Yes. So
And look, these people, kind of your idols as well, aren't they? I mean, they're people that you're looking up to, but they're also getting to compete with. I mean, of course you want to have your photos.
Yeah,
So what were you saying? So therefore, that there was no photos. They weren't allowed to be taken.
no, they didn't.
Do the meet and greet.
They did meet and greet with the men, but not with the women. Maybe it's something to look forward to next year. I think next year is going to be even bigger and better, and there will be lots of girls trying to get to this stage. I mean, I'm quite fortunate because I've got one step less. I've already qualified for the Englands, but as we were touching on the money-wise, so not every competition is paid. Like these non-tested, the lower competitions this year, we've had some money prizes. Non-tested competition, there is no money prizes, but they starting to look for. I've seen an announcement for the next year. The champions get paid a hotel, which is less money because it costs lots of money. If I want to go to Finland, it's nearly £2,000, and if you've got to fund every competition, which is anything between £500 to £2,000, is a lot of money a year. And if you're doing 4 to 6 competitions, it goes into your budget big time.
Yeah, of course. And what can you actually win? So what's the purse? What does the budget look like for what can be won in these types of competitions?
It depends. It depends on the sponsors. It depends on the level of the competition. So let's say Arnold's, we had £20,000 prize pot between the 4 weight categories. So it was £5,000 per weight category. Yeah. So obviously when it gets a bit more and then less and less and less. So yeah. In the England round, it was less money. So actually for third place, I got £50. So that actually covered my whole weekend parking. Still better than nothing, but it's quite challenging as well when you don't have sponsors and you have to pay for everything, all your kit, all your training, all your gym memberships, all the travels to the competition. It all adds up.
course it does,
It's. I mean, especially for myself, I struggled last year because obviously my husband's been made redundant and couldn't find a job because of the COVID. It was just a nightmare, and to fund all the competitions, I went to the Finland to compete in World Championships, and I had to create the donation site for people to help me to be able to compete.
Lots of people helped you, didn't they?
Yes. My actually my employer, East Electronics, they donated me £500.
Okay.
So that was a big chunk. Then a couple of my friends from CrossFit, they've donated £100 each. And there was some not so small sums from other guys as well who really, I really appreciate that they've done that for me, because without them I wouldn't be able to go to Finland. And it's really nice to know that people do support you and they look up to you in this way and want to help you to progress and be better,